Weaponized pronoun preferences. Bill C-16 will be abused. Hey, it's Prince of Queens, and I guess it's official that Canada is panicking in its desperate attempts to maintain whatever dysfunctional system of government that they have adopted, which I won't pretend to be an expert on. Still, it's like something is seriously wrong in Canada, and they are doing everything they can to deny it, due to the fact that they are trying to pass laws against quote-unquote Islamophobia, as if Islam should be above criticism in the Western world, the fact that their prime minister is an ex-substitute drama teacher and part-time ski instructor whose main selling point is what you can see in this photo, and now the fact that they have officially passed Bill C-16 that will make it illegal to use people's non-preferred pronouns, well, we can assume there's something deeply wrong with Canada's government and economy, and they don't know how to fix it, so they figure they better start distracting people by having their prime minister be a dreamy male feminist, talking about legalizing marijuana and shutting people up who might complain with clever ways of abolishing free speech. Now, I don't want to comment on the Islamophobia law because I don't know much about Islam. However, Bill C-16, which makes it illegal to use somebody's incorrect pronouns, is something that I have a lot of experience with personally, so I want to give my opinion about why exactly I think that this is such a heinous law. Now, I know the proponents of the law claim that it will only be used to punish egregious examples of people using the wrong pronouns, presumably implying that somebody would only get into legal trouble if they kept calling somebody who looks like Theron Meyer a he over and over, the way people who definitely want to make transgender people angry do, such as TERFs like Magdalene Burns, who insists on calling all transgender people by their biological pronouns as a rule. However, while Magdalene Burns is a horrible and dishonest person who lies about as much as Anita Sarkeesian, and it bugs me that so many people in the skeptic sphere have watched her, but haven't watched her carefully enough to see how much of a lying snake she is, I fully endorse Magdalene's right to misgender people without getting in legal trouble for it, though I do think that it's bad behavior on her end. Still, under Bill C-16, the TERFs like Burns would be punished legally, which wouldn't make me sad in her case, even though I'd speak out against it if Burns lived in Canada and got in legal trouble for misgendering people. But will it stop there? Well, I don't know for certain, but I am guessing it absolutely wouldn't. Canada is a creepy authoritarian place already where a woman can't consent to having sex if she's drunk, so anytime a woman ever has sex while she's drunk, the man is always a rapist in Canada. And we've already seen abuses of power from politically connected feminist ideologues, like in the case of Stephanie Guthrie versus Gregory Allen Elliott in Toronto, where the man was arrested and put on trial for 3 years while being banned from the internet the whole time for allegedly harassing Stephanie Guthrie on Twitter, which turned out to be bullshit as the judge found him innocent. Still, Stephanie Guthrie was only able to get the man arrested and put on trial in Canada because she was a professional feminist with political ties to the district attorney in Toronto, meaning that Canada has far leftist professional ideologues that you better not cross, or you can get in legal trouble. This has already happened. More so, one thing that I think I can tell you from many years of knowing both full-blown transsexuals, transgenders, trenders, and everything in between is that the vast majority of the time, people who have actually done something to transition are nice about pronoun mistakes, while the non-binary pansexual genderqueers almost entirely use their gender identity as leverage to attack people. If you want to see examples of such a thing in action, you can watch the rally that made Jordan B. Peterson internet famous, where he spoke with Lauren Southern, or rather, in particular, some of the footage shot by an SJW who came up and was barraging him with questions as if she was interrogating him. At one point, he called her a she, and she freaked out and told him not to call her that very angrily, even though you can tell from her voice that she's a she, and you can find footage of her at the same protest, and it's clear that she's female. Now, if this person does consider themselves a transgender male who is about to start with their transition and just doesn't appear very masculine yet, that would be one thing. But I don't think that that's super likely, because people suffering from insecurities about gender dysphoria generally don't purposefully place themselves in situations where they will likely be misgendered, seemingly just so that they can use the misgendering to get heated. No, that's what trans trenders do. And maybe most of the time, trans trenders adopt their supposed transgender identity with the seeming sole purpose of using it as an excuse to attack plebeians who didn't remember to ask their gender before talking to them. And these trans-trender people just love to pounce upon the uninitiated and make them pay for their mistakes, hopefully by way of groveling apologies, robbing the person who referred to them with the wrong pronoun of any dignity they might have had in the social situation. From my experience, the people who get mad at people for supposedly misgendering them are generally doing it to add insult to injury against somebody that they were already upset with. Usually because that person showed that they didn't follow the fourth wave intersectional feminist ideology. They aren't mad because you misgendered them. They usually aren't even trans. They are mad that you don't do as you're told and follow the ideology. And attacking you for misgendering them is just an attempt to get you to lick their boots. Is there a straight white male that insists that he's been the victim of both racism and sexism at numerous points in his life? Well, these people will obviously want to shout him down just for that. But that isn't easy, because white men are almost constantly victims of racism and sexism these days, so it's hard to claim that they aren't. So instead, they'll patiently await him to misgender one of them, and then, gotcha! Now he's really in trouble. That's why I think that this law in Canada is just a sly way of giving ideologues legal power in regards to pronouns. It gives any individual the mandate to pick an intellectual fight with somebody, even just on the internet, and when they don't like what the person has to say, but the ideologue can't actually beat them in the debate, which is almost always in these debates because ideologues can't argue for shit currently, if they ever can, then the ideologue gets to wait for this person to refer to them by the wrong pronoun, and then they can get them in trouble on a technicality. But it won't be used that way. We promise. No, bullshit. That's basically the only way I ever see this type of pronoun bullshit ever used. Most trans people I know just want to be treated like normal people. They don't go out of their way to start fights with the hope that somebody will misgender them. Truthfully, that's probably a big reason why so many non-binary identified people are out there. They try to be androgynous, not just because they have both masculine and feminine energy deep inside, not just because they are doing it to be trendy, but also because androgyny confuses people. Confusing people leads to misgendering, and being able to get mad about being misgendered gives you power, especially now in Canada where it's illegal. If you want to confuse people about your gender, you can get them in legal trouble. It's a perfect way to get the authorities mad at somebody, and people take advantage of this all the time. I've known a lot of people who do this. I know girls that are completely female. They don't even get a haircut. And they say that they're non-binary and they demand they, them pronouns. So yeah, that's the level of bullshit that we're dealing with. If you think that people aren't going to take advantage of this, you're just fucking wrong. People want creepy authority over other people. They already do it. If they had laws to get you in trouble, you better believe they'd use them. That's all I have to say for this video. Drop me a comment, help me out on Patreon if you want more from me, and stay tuned.